Patriotic Ideas, Episode 8. Welcome, fellow patriots. My name is Author Larry, and my channel is Patriotic Ideas. This is a political channel in which I discuss some of the problems facing our great nation today and offer solutions that I consider appropriate. If you like this content, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It is absolutely free and it will help grow my channel. Today we're going to discuss the role of the United Nations and the membership of the United States in the UN. World War II was an apparent attempt by Germany and the Emperor of Japan to take control over all of Europe and Asia at the time. It is likely that if that effort was successful, further attempts would later be made to establish control over the other continents also. After the defeat of Germany and Japan, it certainly must have seemed to be a great idea to establish the United Nations to try to unify the world in peaceful coexistence. After all, Russia and the Western leaders had agreed to divide up all the nations in Europe and Asia into either communist or democratic countries. And these were and are still diametrically opposed types of societies. It is my understanding that agreement was made with Russia at the time that no nuclear weapons would be established on the European continent. But the United States did put nuclear weapons in Europe, likely because European allies feared Russian invasion. Thus began the Cold War. It would seem that the role of the United Nations would be to attempt to maintain peace and order and try to resolve disputes between nations. But there have been many threats to world peace since that time. Efforts by Communist China to gain control over all Oriental countries on the planet, which persists to this day, resulted in conflicts in Korea and Vietnam. The United States went to war in Korea, which resulted in the divided Korea that exists today. France at first tried to establish democracy in Vietnam, but eventually left and the United States stepped in, but later failed to prevent the Chinese victory. Both Russia and the United States have gone to war in the Middle East to prevent the stoppage of oil supply from Middle East to other countries. Wars over religious beliefs have continued to be fought in island Europe and especially in the Middle East nations. Although we have not had any world conflicts since 1945, it does not seem that the existence of the United Nations has brought peace to our planet. Unfortunately, over many years, another threat to peaceful coexistence on Earth has also developed. Many wealthy families and bankers worldwide are united in an effort to gain total control over the entire money supply of the planet and install leaders in many governments sympathetic to their goals, which will give them total control over the entire population of the planet without military effort. Apparently, violent action is only instituted to oust leaders not sympathetic to their cause or who cannot be controlled by them. Recent actions seem to be efforts to open all borders, to eliminate nationalism, and cause internal strife within nations. The attempt to install a central bank digital currency in all nations to gain total financial control over the population is already in progress. Whether through ignorance or on purpose, the United Nations appears to be complicit. Worldwide news organizations are only controlled by about a half dozen people who also appear to be in sympathy with this effort to control the population of the world. Not only in the United States, but also worldwide, I believe that the United Nations is believed to be a defender of democracy and capitalism. I do not see how this could be true. All 10 or more leaders of the United Nations have been radical socialists or communists since it was formed. All orders received by presidents of the United States to change the economy or living standards in our country have been efforts to reduce the standard of living here in very dramatic ways. A proposition by the United Nations to Ronald Reagan in the 1980s to change America to total apartment-style living caused Reagan to threaten to leave the United Nations. We still call all of Europe democratic countries, but very little capitalism exists there, in my opinion. Middle-class people in Europe do not have the same living standards as we do in America. Although efforts are being made by our own government to destroy our middle class, we still have thousands of gated communities in which middle class here live. I believe that in Europe, that is reserved for the very wealthy and high government officials. The United Nations may believe they are defending democracy, but they are not defending capitalism, which is hated by many worldwide. Democracy is only important to us in America because it paved the way for capitalism. When our forefathers created our great society, they gave us the right to own property and capital and accumulate wealth. They said that this right is granted to us by God, and the government has no right to take it away from us. This was the actual right we acquired that changed the world so dramatically. I do not believe that the United Nations is a defender of capitalism. When we lose our right to own money and property, democracy will be lost forever. There will be no democracy, even if we still call it that. There will be no freedom. It is my belief that the United Nations not only has never been a defender of our capitalist economic system in America, but is complicit with world leaders in encouraging open borders, causing internal conflict within nations, and conversion to central bank digital currencies. In addition, the United Nations is complicit in helping to install leaders within the United States as well as worldwide who are globalists in their beliefs and are supportive of globalist efforts to destroy capitalism. If I am right, the United Nations is working to destroy our American way of life, and we should not be a member of the UN. In fact, have we already elected many leaders of our country who are globalists themselves, including many presidents? Have most of our government departments become controlled by globalist leaders? You can buy a book in Barnes & Noble that will identify the Rockefellers, Kennedys, Bushes, and many other wealthy American families as globalists. They include Presidents Kennedy, Johnson, Carter, Clinton, Obama, Bush Sr. and Bush Jr., and Biden as globalists. Many of our lifetime politicians became very wealthy after government service. Was it because they were supportive in their policies towards globalist efforts? It is my opinion that we must change our government to return patriots to power who oppose globalist efforts to change our way of life. We have to change the focus of our government to be supportive of a continual return to the original way of life that was the intention of our forefathers when they created our great country. Discussions regarding this change to a new world order are included in my books. The first book, titled Past, Present, and Future of Planet Earth, credits our forefathers with the creation of our great nation. The second book, Love Letters to America, makes us aware that we are drifting further and further away from the society we were intended to be, and I have written 33 love letters to America to identify many of our problems and offer some solutions. My books are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If you like this content, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Your subscription will get you notices of future episodes. Your comments are always welcome, and I will reply to all that I can. Watch for weekly episodes. Our next episode will be a discussion about worldwide sovereign debt. How large has government debt grown both in America and worldwide? Please tune in. This is Arthur Larry signing off for Patriotic Ideals. Hope to see you again next week.